Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, it's another absolutely gorgeous morning out. The sun is just rising behind me and I've got a lot of great news to talk about. So come along with me on my morning walk and let's talk some news. So first up on the docket here, there are a couple of fluffs on the water. So let's just get that out of the way and you get fluffs right at the beginning of this video. And we've got a bunch of little ducks right there. I learned in yesterday's video that this is called a raft of ducks. Now, if we're lucky, we may see more fluffs on the walker. We may not. Who the heck knows? Anyways here, the first thing we're talking about is PS4 emulation with ShadPS4. And ShadPS4 is making some, I would say, significant progress. So ShadPS4 says here right on their website, God of War 3 remastered in-game in version 0.11.1 work in progress. They say an exciting new update in just a short time. This time God of War 3 finally gets in-game. There are still some graphic issues, as you will notice, and some problems with sound, but it is an exciting update either way. So this information is right up on their website, and there's also a YouTube video showcasing the gameplay in action. And if you're interested and wanted to learn more about it, like everything we talk about, link will be within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. And speaking about videos on YouTube, next up we're talking about Steam. And Steam has just posted a brand new video advertising their 2025 autumn sale. Pretty timely given the trees. Now, probably to absolutely nobody's surprise, as with pretty much every other Steam sale, there's a plethora of games on sale and some for some significant savings. And a whole bunch of games you may want to add to your backlog and never play. Now, some of the more heavy hitters that Steam has advertised in their YouTube video include No Rest for the Wicked, The Alters, Dredge, Squad, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Batman Arkham Knight, Doom the Dark Ages, and even more. And speaking about stuff on YouTube, next up here we're talking about a pretty big announcement from Night Dive Studios. So Night Dive Studios has published a brand new video here titled Blood Refreshed Supply, and it's the reveal trailer. The overall reception of this trailer seems to be pretty darn positive, and taking a look at some of the comments here and some of the most popular ones, this person says, "Everyone say thank you, Night Dive." And this person here says, "I needed a palate cleanser from that Deus Ex crappy, stupid looking remaster from Aspire. Thanks, Night Dive. I love your studio. Keep making more proper remasters, please." If you've seen the trailer, let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Now, this is releasing in December, and they say the legendary blood-soaked shooter comes to consoles for the very first time. Up to 4K 120 FPS visuals on PS4 and 5, and Xbox One and Series X and S. Fully customizable keyboard and gamepad support, extended modding support, including support for existing mods, local split screen and cross-platform online multiplayer support for up to 8 players. And lastly here, they've added in new scenarios, Marrow and Death Wish. If you're a fan of Blood Refresh Supply, you might be excited about this announcement. And speaking about game announcements, next up here we're talking about a brand new one that was just announced up on YouTube from Devolver Digital and the people behind Hyper Light Drifter. And this one is called Possessors. I am curious to hear your thoughts on the trailer if you've seen it, so let me know here. This is a game I probably will be picking up. It releases on November 11th for PS5 and PC. And taking a look at the combat, the juggling, the Metroidvania aspect of it, I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of searching and stuff. It looks pretty cool. It's set in a cyberpunk-ish universe, and I guess the main character has made a deal with the devil. And speaking about deals, next up here we're talking about EA, and my video went live yesterday, I think just after this news broke. We talked about the rumor that EA was possibly going to be sold for around $50 billion, and it turns out it was sold for around $55 billion. From my understanding here, the purchasers of EA are the PIF, the Public Investment Fund from Saudi Arabia, also Silver Lake and Affinity Partners formed by Jared Kushner. I have no idea what's going to happen with EA moving forward. I've got no idea in terms of the overall direction and the way things will go. From my understanding here, the current CEO is still staying in place. I've got no idea how long Andrew Wilson will stay on as CEO, and maybe it'll just be until the purchase is complete and everything is all settled, and then they'll replace him with someone else. Really don't know here. I've seen a lot of mixed reactions online. Some people are excited about it, and others not so much. Let me know your thoughts. And speaking about takeovers, next up we're talking about a takeover of a GitHub repository by DMCA. Well, the sun was right in your eyes there, sorry about that. Anyways, here, we talked about this one in a previous video or two, I think, and that was the Super Mario 3D All-Stars Deluxe. It turns out the GitHub repository has been taken down, but sorry about the sun again in your eyes, but the game is still up on a different area. Now, for those who may not be aware, Super Mario 3D All-Stars Deluxe is a fan project. There are 5 different games that work with it, and those games include Super Mario 64, Super Mario 3D Land, Super Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Galaxy, and Super Mario Galaxy 2. So taking a look at their YouTube video, and it appears the link has been updated to GitLab. And from what I can see, the project is still alive and well over on GitLab. And speaking about stuff alive and well, next up we're talking about the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition. Now, we talked about this one in previous videos when it was discovered there was a new PS5 Digital Edition on the way that offered less for the same amount of money. So in terms of what's less, the less here is the storage, 825 gigs as opposed to 1 terabyte. And you could also argue this new PS5 Digital Edition lost its luster. It's now matte as opposed to shiny. Now, unfortunately, at this point in time, I don't know if this version of the Digital Edition will be released worldwide or if it's going to be limited to just Europe. I'm guessing they're testing this one out to see what the overall reaction is and see what the adoption rate is. If you wanted to see this one in more detail, I would recommend checking out a video from Austin Evans. And apparently this is a quote from Austin. The fact that this is able to give you essentially the exact same performance, the same thermals, the same power delivery in a form factor that is, well, the same on the outside, lighter weight, cheaper to manufacture, and equivalent in every other way is fantastic. And yeah, I'd agree, it's fantastic for Sony, but I'd also argue it's not fantastic for the customer. Cheaper to make and ship from Sony, and the customer receives nothing in return. They actually receive less. And speaking about corporations making more money, next up we're talking about Apple and Delta Emulator. And it appears that Delta Emulator is having a bit of a struggle with Apple right now in the App Store because of in-app purchases. Apple seems to want more and Delta seems to want less with their own app. So this information comes from a few different places, and one of the more prominent ones is up on Reddit Emulation. And they say here, Apple blocks update and bug fixes for Delta Emulator on iPhone and blackmail the developer with it. I would say that's a little bit dramatic. Anyways, here the Alt Store does have a post, and they have a picture of that post. And the Alt Store says, Apple is blocking Delta's iOS 26 bug fix update. They go on to say here, despite announcing they would no longer hold up bug fix updates for guidelines violations, Apple called us directly saying they would not approve Delta's iOS 26 bug fix update unless we added in-app purchases worldwide. They go on to say here, we've only offered in-app purchases in the US since adding them last December, and have released multiple updates since without issue. This sudden ask would take more time than we'd like and significantly delay these bug fixes for our users. To be clear, this is not an issue for our users who installed Delta with the AltStar and PAL in the EU. Very interesting overall. My guess here is that because Delta has in-app purchases in the US, Apple wants them to be worldwide and just make sure the app is consistent worldwide and not different in one market. Could be wrong about that, but I don't know here. I would say bug fix updates shouldn't necessarily constitute requiring in-app purchases across the board, but who knows? Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below, and I'm very curious to see what happens moving forward. I'm guessing that Delta is going to have to comply with Apple or not have the update at all. Moving on from that, and speaking about updates and paid stuff, next up here we're talking about Nostlan, which is a paid emulation front end. Anyways, Nostlan version 3.3 just released, and they're calling this one PS1 Open Case View. They say they've added 1,421 PS1 manuals and 1,685 PS1 disks to Nostlan's database. They say flip through PDF and CBZ manuals with Nostlan, new liquid glass app icon for macOS 26, new theme for PS1, and created a dual case open case view for PS1 games. And speaking about new releases, but maybe not in an exciting way, next up here we're talking about Windows 10, Windows 11. and Capcom with Monster Hunter Wilds, Monster Hunter Rise, and Monster Hunter World. Now, to be honest with you, I've seen a lot of very interesting headlines about this one. I've seen a lot of interesting takes, and a lot of people seem to be very upset. And then some people don't seem to care too much, given the fact that it's not necessarily completely doom and gloom. But at a pretty high level here, basically what Capcom is saying is that if there is an update to Rise, Worlds, or Wilds, and it makes it incompatible with Windows 10, they're not going to do anything about it. Now, that's my understanding of the current situation. I mean, there's a post here on Rock, Paper, Shotgun with some quotes from Capcom that help draw those conclusions. I guess Capcom says Capcom will no longer guarantee that Monster Hunter World, Rise, and Wilds will run on Windows 10 systems. And furthermore, they say here, future system updates or game title updates may make the game incompatible on Windows 10 systems. And support can only be provided based on information from before support for Windows 10 was discontinued. So if you're on Windows 10 and you're a huge fan of Monster Hunter, you may want to think about upgrading to Windows 11. And speaking about upgrades, next up we're talking about 8BitDo. And 8BitDo, who have recently released that Pro 3 gamepad that's been getting a lot of attention. I mean, I reviewed it on this channel. Anyways, they've just unveiled a brand new colorway here, and it's orange. And a lot of people seem to be very excited about it. Now, if you don't want to see my review about the Pro 3, I completely understand. I do recommend checking it out, though, at least for the algorithm. But anyways, here at a really high level, I'm a huge fan of the Pro 2. I still recommend the Pro 2 for taking on the road. And I recommended the Pro 3 for home use. I think if they didn't have those magnetic buttons and also was weighted just a little bit differently so it wasn't as top heavy, I'd be using the Pro 3 all day, every day for pretty much everything. Anyways, here, I think the Pro 3 is still a great buy. I think the $70 US price point is still way better than a lot of controllers out there, a lot of more premium controllers. And speaking about premium stuff, last up here, we're talking about the Samsung Galaxy Ring. If you've got a Samsung Galaxy Ring, you may want to pay attention to the battery that's in it. First and foremost, I've seen complaints online about battery life, and after an extended period of time, the battery life weakening. But I've also seen here most recently a battery exploding or expanding around the finger of someone wearing the ring. So Daniel, also known as Zone of Tech, says on Twitter they were sent to the hospital as an emergency, got the ring removed. You can see the battery all swollen and won't be wearing a smart ring ever again. Now, fortunately, from my understanding, he was okay. There's no damage or anything like that. Well, at least not to his finger, but to the ring, absolutely yes. And I guess the battery started swelling while he was waiting to get on a flight and was denied boarding the flight because of it. So I guess a PSA here is if you've got any sort of device with a lithium battery in it, doesn't even have to be a smart device. If you've got a phone, a tablet, a gaming handheld, a ring, a watch, batteries, who the heck knows? If you've got any device with a lithium battery in it, you may just want to be careful and check on it every now and then to make sure those batteries are not swelling. I mean, old PSPs have this problem, and I'm assuming there's going to be a lot more as time goes on. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff, except the ducks at the beginning. I was really hoping to see a moose today or a bear. It's that time of year, and unfortunately didn't see either. Maybe we'll get them in a future camping video, who knows? Anyways, we talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.